This is Asia First.
Good Friday morning at 7 a.m. here in Singapore. I'm Julie Yu. Our top story this hour. Big buzz at the border by car, motorbike, cycle, and on foot. Huge crowds cross between Singapore and Malaysia as the neighbors completely reopened the causeway to fully vaccinated travelers for the first time in about 2 years. Visitors not required to test for COVID-19 or isolate.
So very happy. How to say, I cannot to say.
It will be jam. So many people will go. So very.
And we're live on both sides of the border this morning here on Asia First to bring you the latest.
I'm Avril Hong. Also this hour, energy fallout from the Ukraine war. President Vladimir Putin punches back at the West over sanctions, forcing buyers of Russian gas to pay in rubles from today as he works to support the currency and his choked-off economy. While President Joe Biden approves the largest ever release of crude oil from the United States strategic reserves to help bring down rising prices at the pump.
Our prices are rising because of Putin's action. There isn't enough supply. And the bottom line is, if we want lower gas prices, we need to have more oil supply right now.
Meantime, Ukraine's president says Russia is preparing to carry out powerful strikes in the east as it regroups its forces, a conclusion backed up by the head of the NATO military alliance.
Russia is trying to regroup, resupply, and reinforce its offensive in the Donbas region.
I'm Sarah Alcaldi with Business News. The Ukraine war, one of the big drags as Wall Street wraps up a rocky first quarter. The Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq all negative in the January to March period as traders juggle a host of hot potatoes, from Russia's invasion to sky-high inflation to the start of what's expected to be a long interest rate hiking cycle by the U.S. Federal Reserve. We look back and ahead.
In yet another significant step towards living with COVID-19, Singapore has eased border restrictions today.
The Vaccinated Travel Lane, or VTL scheme, has been scrapped and replaced with a new framework. Fully vaccinated travelers are now no longer required to take designated flights to enter Singapore quarantine-free. Visitors also do not need to take any on-arrival COVID-19 tests, but they're still required to take a pre-departure test within 48 hours before their flight to Singapore.
It's the land border reopening between Singapore and Malaysia, though, that's the most anticipated. No quarantines, no tests, and fully vaccinated travelers are only required to bring valid travel documents such as passports and vehicle entry permits.
Honking and cheers rang out along the causeway at midnight as hundreds of travelers crossed on either side. Long